Hey, this is Sapphire Sorceress.
And this is Red Ranger, and in this video, we're going to be creating Sapphire Sorceress as a Pokemon trainer.
Alright, so I'm up first, and for this challenge, we decided to do, so it was me as a Pokemon trainer, and then we picked 6 Pokemon, because that's apparently the legal limit for the Pokemon.
Yeah, we couldn't tell each other either what Pokemon we had picked, so I was really hoping that I would get the same 6 as her, but I also knew that the likelihood of that is pretty small.
We also knew that I would be basing the Pokemon based off of their looks, and he would be basing it based off of their stats.
I was definitely a Pokemon super fan growing up.
Okay, so what you just saw was me doing Piplup's base layer. So I was doing a flat color and just laying that down and then using the fill tool to fill it in. And then I did that with the rest of the characters as well. So when I did the base colors, I left every single color on a separate layer so that I could go back with the magic wand and just individually select that color. So when I laid the shading over it, it wouldn't go outside of the lines that I wanted it to stay in. And I started that off with Beedrill and continue with the rest of the characters.
I just gotta say, I actually really like your team. In the games you can you'll come across these trainers, and they've all got there's 5 Weedles. It's a bug trainer. Everything about him is bug, and he's just got 5 of the same Pokemon. But I am wholeheartedly in love with the Pokemon you chose for yourself.
You were worried that I would choose Pokemon that would leave me defenseless, but then you saw the team that I chose and you're pretty impressed. So
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Can I ask? Let's start with Blastoise. Why did you choose Blastoise?
I had very few Pokemon cards growing up. It's just some of those things you'd get to pick something at the store and that was trending at that time, I suppose. But Blastoise was one of them that I had, and that was one of the good ones. I knew it was good, so yeah, that's kind of why.
That's awesome. See, if you had a Blastoise, you don't need a pepper spray. I can just let you go out. You're good,
So I try to keep the Pokemon characters I chose pretty close to the originals that I remember. And so the only one that's really kind of drastically different is Rapidash. And the reason that I did that, I made it more of a fantasy kind of feel because I wanted my character to be fantasy and I knew that I wanted her to be on Rapidash. So I wanted them to be coherent, but then I also wanted it to go with the rest of the Pokemon. For my character design, I wanted it to look like me, so blonde hair and blue eyes. It's kind of as detailed as this one gets, but I did want it to have that fantasy element, so I put her in the flowy dress and the long hair. That's not typical Pokemon trainer attire. I know I don't have a baseball hat on, but it was something that I wanted to do and have a little bit more stylized.
So Piplup's your favorite Pokemon, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a strict favorite because I like the ones that I like. I have very few that I know about, but I like the ones I like for different reasons.
Well, Piplup's a good pick, and I think her name is Dawn. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
She had blue hair.
Yeah, she had blue hair. I think she had a Piplup.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
I think we have to name your Piplup.
Oh, Pip?
Enrique.
No. What you just saw was me working on some background colors and then also working on the flames for Rapidash's mane and tail. So Autodesk has a flame tool, which is what I used, and it's pressurized, and it also changes the colors based on how many times they get layered, which is pretty cool because it makes the flame effect a bit easier to achieve. But I basically laid all of the flames down, and they're kind of sporadic and hard to control, so I just kind of did it messily and was accepting that there was going to be some cleanup later. And then after that, after I layered it all the way that I wanted it to be, I went in and cleaned up the edges and adjusted the colors to how I wanted them to look. I really wanted the characters to stand out and stand apart from the background and just be very dimensional. So this is me just going back and I do this a couple of times, but I just add darker colors and then blend them out so that there's more shadow and dimension to the characters. Now I started working on my background, so I wanted it to be like you were in like an enchanted forest kind of thing, and all these Pokemon and me were like having a party of some sort. I don't know. Like we look squared up, but like we also look like we're just talking and like chatting about some life things. So I wanted the environment to be peaceful and just like kind of fun, and again, that fantasy feel. The last thing I did was think about how Rapidash's flames would affect the other characters' lighting. So I really darkened the outside edges so the light would look more intense, and then I reflected that light onto the other characters. And here's my final piece.
Okay, so I definitely went a different route with mine, but I hope that it can stand next to yours in the end and still look okay. So what I'm doing right now, I've got my outline, I've made 2 layers, and I'm going to, so they're duplicate layers, and I'm going to the layer below, and I'm erasing all of the in-between lines. I just want to first own that yes, you do have a baseball hat. Thoughts?
It's not what I would have chose for myself, but I do wear baseball hats.
Yeah, so both of us, I think, wanted to blend in, it's obvious in yours, wanted to blend in the fantasy element of you being Sapphire Sorceress with Pokemon. And so kind of where I struck in my head was that you would be like a Wizards of Waverly Place kind of wizard. You know, you dress like everybody else, except you have to have the baseball hat because you're a Pokemon trainer. You like that? Or?
But Pokemon, but Pokemon's already like supposed to be like fantasy, so I just felt like it should be pushed even further. Like the aesthetics, like I feel like a wizard in this world, like the aesthetic should be pushed even further in a crazy world.
That's fair enough. It's kind of like we were talking about with the bug people who dress in bug outfits.
What?
You know, like you go to in Pokemon, there are people who only train bugs, and they're either dressed as a bug catcher or straight up as the bug.
That conversation must have been too weird for me to remember.
Okay, I don't know it yet as I'm doing this recording, but I just made what was almost a fatal flaw. I dyed the background green. I don't remember why I did that. I fill tooled it. On the same layer, don't ever do that. Just leave your background, and work on that as a lower layer. I was able to overcome it in the end using the magic wand, but I made a lot of goofy mistakes throughout this, and I still think it turned out pretty good.
So I told you a little bit about why I chose the Pokemon that I chose for myself, but why did you choose these ones for me?
Do you want me speaking about a specific one, or can I just start anywhere?
Just anywhere, just any specific one.
Okay, so for some of them it's easy. Piplup and Espeon, I'd heard you talk about them before. I know you like Eevee and you wanted to choose one of the evolutions. So I chose one, and I happened to choose the one you chose. So I got 2 of them. I chose Smeargle here, the lemur with the paint on his tail, actually because you're an artist, and he's an artist. So I feel like you guys would really hit it off.
And I did get to choose the color for the tail.
That's true, yes, that is true. Now, Smeargles can have different colored tails, because it is actually paint. But as for everyone else, there are a mixture of reasons. Celebi because she's strong, Butterfree because it's a butterfly, it's a pretty Pokemon, and you're a pretty Sapphire Sorceress. Okay, from here, once you have all your flat colors, you want to start shading. So just where is the light hitting, where is it not hitting? You can use your layer up above, the duplicate layer up above, if you turn that and make it visible, and you can see where the wrinkles on the clothes are, and just start shading all those things in as well.
I think it's worth noting that neither one of us knew each other's designs, like while we were both designing them. Like we didn't know what each other's would look like until after. Like we talked about certain elements or certain things that we might include, but we didn't know what each other's pupil would look like or what they would be dressed as, or again, like what Pokemon we would choose for me. So it was pretty cool to get to see like the end and see how similar they were, but also how different.
As I did this piece of art, it made me realize how much I remembered about Pokemon, but also it started enlightening me into how much I had forgotten. So a couple of things that I remember as I did it actually is Celebi is supposed to bring good luck if you see her. So it's supposed to be a sign of having a good life.
Well, what if you own her?
Well, I think that's pretty good security.
Something I really like about how you designed the Pokemon for me is like they're all doing such cute poses. Like Smeargle's got his tongue out with his blue paintbrush tail, and then Piplup just like looks so happy to be alive. Maybe it's because Celebi's around. I don't know. But
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of footage that you can find of these guys. So I don't think I did any original poses. But something I do think that helped me with the dynamicness of it was that I drew these on every single note I had to take all throughout middle school.
nerd.
It is now time to do highlights, and I will do a video at some point, or maybe you'll do a video at some point, which really goes into how to do highlights on glossy objects. But for now, we just get this basic Pokemon style highlight in the eye. And what you do is you add a basic white blob, so somewhat opaque, but then two smaller dots is what I've been using throughout, just to show that light is reflecting off them. In order to fix the background, what I did was I took the magic wand tool, and it's brilliant how it does it. I don't even know how it does it 100%, but I selected the items I wanted to keep, and then I grabbed the eraser and erased the background. And this is the final piece. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to see more content like this.
Let us know in the comments section how your version of this went, or tag us in your posts on Instagram @BardsBeards.